This is your Daily 5 for Thursday, November 6th, 2025. Exactly 1 week ago today was the last day of Adobe MAX, the creativity conference that I've mentioned at least a few times I was very lucky to get to go to. And as a reminder, I did do a segment on Tech News Weekly over on the Twit Network, episode 411. I'm at the end talking about my reactions while I was actually there. And in the time since then, oh boy, do you not have to look very hard to see a lot of highly animated and impassioned reactions to Adobe as a company, which already was not exactly in the same beloved place with the creator community that it was when it had started out years and years ago. But now with Adobe MAX and a number of the announcements that came out during it, there are lots of very upset people. And, I enjoy watching these videos because a lot of times when there is some kind of controversy or people are very upset about something, I either don't really know what they're talking about because I'm too old now, or it's something that I don't have enough knowledge about to really be able to figure out if they're full of it or not. But when it comes to Adobe, which I use all the time, and being a creator, which I am, this is one area where I have some actual expertise. And when people say things, I'm able to judge it a little bit better than if I'm coming into it cold. And many of these videos make very valid points. There is very real concern and fear within the creative community around AI in general. Some of these videos are wildly factually incorrect in what they're saying Adobe is doing, but it is the general consensus, and I don't think an unfair one, that Adobe is to some degree positioning their tools as AI-first offerings. In terms of they really, at least based on what they said at MAX in their keynote, and some of that is pure marketing, absolutely is, but they definitely are trying, and you go into the tools, you see pop-ups, all this stuff, to get you used to and using these AI tools. And of course, some of that is because their partners aren't going to stay partners for long if nobody's using their stuff, but it's also because there is a general worldwide trend to shoving AI into everything. And as much as people would love to live in a fantasy world where Adobe isn't a multi-billion-dollar company that cares more about dollars than people, the reality is they are a multi-billion-dollar company that cares more about dollars than people. And so if everybody's on the train to AI as a way to boost shareholder value and make yourself look relevant, then Adobe's getting on that train, and I don't know what world you were living in that you thought that wasn't going to happen. Now, do I care about any of that? Not really, because I still haven't found an AI tool that does anything for me. And to try to get outside of myself for a minute, as I've said before, I do think it's important to remember that not everybody does things the same way. Just because I, as a creator, find nothing valuable about AI tools on balance doesn't mean somebody else doesn't find that either. And I am simply not going to put myself into a position where I'm going to tell somebody else what they're right and wrong to do. Those people, and I know, energy concerns, the environment, all this stuff. Okay, fine. All of that is stuff that you have to, if that's a consideration for you, you have to look in the mirror and decide how much that matters to you. That's up to you as the individual, like so many things in life. But I don't want to be in a position to tell somebody that they shouldn't be allowed to use something if it allows them to create and express themselves. Do I think that there are better ways to do it than relying on a prompt-driven tool? Of course I do. I've said that numerous times. But when people go crazy about this stuff, to me the thing is it still optional? Is it still something that you don't have to use if you don't want to? And as of right now, nothing Adobe announced, nothing I've seen in the tools, and I've updated all of them, makes you use any of this stuff. You still have a choice. You still make a decision as a creative individual on what you're going to use or not use. And as long as that stays the same, meaning that the generative fill tool is sitting right next to the content-aware fill tool, and I only don't have to use one or the other, or one doesn't become massively better than the other, then I'm sorry, but I'm not going to get all that upset about it. Because that's the important thing is, what you want is the toolbox. I don't want to hear that only one tool is available to me. I don't think anybody should want to hear that. And so, again, until something changes, and we've seen nothing indicating it is, that Adobe is forcing you to use AI as opposed to just trying to bait you into using it as hard as possible, which they are absolutely doing, then I'm sorry, but a lot of this is just people getting upset over being given an option. Even if it's an option you don't like, you don't have to use it. As long as that stays the way it is, I'm not getting that upset. Later.